Your fear will be there to push you, to make you uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, that means you're going out of your comfort zone. When you're going out of your comfort zone, that means you're learning something new. And that is the time when you're growing and you're thriving.
Because those stress hormones, we have to look at them as poisons because it does a lot of damage to our body. I'm sure she was feeling increased heart rate. I'm sure she was feeling some crazy pains and aches in the body that she couldn't figure out.
Cynthia was immobilized by trauma, and we've heard this before, but she found a way to break free and move forward on her transformational journey in manifesting her dreams. She has become a force of influence in her career as a transformational life coach, published author, international speaker, podcaster, the podcast I'm going to be on, and a grandma and a mom. Of course, she would be a mom if she was a grandma. Cynthia used to work as a human resource practitioner at the World Bank. And I actually have a cousin who works at the World Bank, but she's retired, and she has lots of experience working with diverse people from that job. And she felt she had a calling to make a difference, to help inspire others and create awareness to empower people to unlock their full potential and create a life they love. So that is what she's doing now. Her books include My Journey into Becoming. That would be really interesting. Overcoming Self-Sabotage. She's a co-author of that anthology, and she's the international bestseller of Dream to Rise anthology. So welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. And I'm truly grateful and privileged and honored to be here at your show. And it's so nice to network with all of you, to be with you, and we'll be at least and collaborate with each one of you. See how we can help each other. See?
Absolutely. And I think that, we talk about this a lot. It's a place where you can be real. And I think it's so important for us to be real, to heal, to feel. And anybody want to jump in with some other rhyming words? I'm good with that. But I think that we're all finding that we're moving from this age of darkness where everything was heavy and negative and based on fear, and we ran our lives because we were afraid of this and afraid of that. And I think we're moving into, and they might call it the age of Aquarius, but it's an age of enlightenment. It's where we are moving ourselves out of this dark bubble of fear, right? And starting to realize that, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to be afraid of everything, right? So when you talk about fear, what are some of the common fears that people you've coached, or even yourselves? What are some of those common fears that people experience?
Actually, based from my experience and based from my clients, fear of committing mistakes, fear of being judged. That's my story is more about that being judged by other people, fear of what other people would say, fear that I will be rejected, fear that, oh my, I won't, I was a failure, something like that. I made a mistake. But I don't know, is it okay if I'll share a brief story
absolutely.
of my...
I'd love to hear your story.
Yes. So I'm still blown away that what you have mentioned, I'm now doing what I'm doing. But I'm blown away by the fact that I was in that dark bubble for 6 years due to fear. because of being judged, and because I felt like I was a failure as a mom and as a wife. So I've been married for 23 years, and we've been blessed with two amazing children, now 33. My daughter is 33 and my son is 27. And I've been subjected to domestic abuse from the time when my daughter was only 5 months old, back home in the Philippines. So I convinced my husband to move here to the United States to give our children better opportunities and at the same time work on our relationship. However, it turned out to be the other way. He was on 2 restraining orders. The first one, I initiated it. He was given a 72-hour temporary restraining order. The 10 years after, he was hitting my son continuously. And my daughter was the one who initiated the call, and my son requested for a 2-year permanent restraining order. After 4 months, but during that 2-year period, I kept on reminding my children that, hey, your dad loves you so much and would still want to connect with you. It was hard for them to respond to his text messages. But I felt so much joy when they invited him to attend their graduation, college for my daughter, and high school for my son. But 4 months after, he died of a massive cardiac arrest while biking. And the worst part was his family blocked us off from their family. Why? Because they blame me for his death. That was the time up to now. It's now on this 10th year, they stopped connecting with their grandchildren. And that was the time when I started I got stuck in my dark bubble for 6 years, from the time he was on restraining order until the time he passed away. And I felt I felt heavy, and because of the baggage that I was carrying, and that was the guilt. Imagine, I was the cause of his death, being blamed by his family. And even some of our common friends blocked me off up to now. But when my son asked me, Mom, I stopped going to the gym. I stopped engaging with people. I stopped socializing because of fear. Fear that I'll be judged. Fear that I'll be rejected. Fear that I was a failure as a mom and as a wife. But one afternoon, my son asked me, Mom, will I be going to college? He just graduated from high school. And when I asked him, where would you like to go to college? He asked me, Mom, is it okay to go to Culinary Institute of America? Being a single earner, a single mom, a single parent, when I discovered the tuition fee of Culinary Institute of America, I was shocked. Where will I get that money? I tried convincing him to change course, to change school, but he was not happy. So when we visited CIA, I could see the sudden change on his face. Smile from ear to ear, super excited. And he was already visualizing himself creating a life, a dream of his own. So I told myself, the only thing that I can do for my children, especially for my son, is to support them. So I told him, okay, apply. Even though I didn't have the money, and I should be afraid, where will I get that money? What if he won't be able to finish college? But then I started working on my 4 domains of my life. And that is my health and well-being. And that includes my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. The only thing that kept me going was my spiritual relationship, my relationship with the Lord. So I focused on that. I started going to the gym. I got that positive energy from the people in the gym, my Zumba. my Zumba class, and I was able to transmit that positive energy with the people I met, and they mirrored it back to me, and that gave me a better understanding of how to build healthier relationships with my mom, with my children, with my siblings, and made new connections and boosted my confidence. As what you've mentioned, I worked for the World Bank as a program assistant. I've been applying to become an analyst, and it's so hard to break the glass ceiling at the World Bank. But because I believed that I will be able to manifest my dream, and I believe that God will be there to help me out, I was able to manifest my dream. Suddenly, I got promoted after several years of trying so hard and not even applying. I was contacted. First manifestation, that was the first manifestation. Second manifestation, someone advised me, why won't you downsize? I listened. What's this? I was able to save 50% of my monthly mortgage, led to my savings for my son's tuition, and then applied for grants and scholarships, which saved me, instead of paying 50,000 for the first year, I only paid 11,000. That was the third manifestation. And I believe, what have I learned? Now, my son graduated from CIA, helping now as a brigade chef in Fresno, California. He's helping, educating and training cooks and administrators how to prepare meals for children, since he's managing 15 schools in Fresno, helping them prepare meals from scratch rather than serving children processed food. And he got inspired because he became a farmer, and he was helping children, educate them about basic farming and food systems. And you know what, even moms, he helped them train them how to prepare dishes from the locally produced from the farm. So connecting the farm and the community, advocating sustainability in the food industry. And my daughter, she's a project manager, at the same time volunteer firefighter. Why? Because it was the volunteer firefighter who tried to save her dad while he collapsed on the road. So what have I learned from this? I've learned to stop the domestic abuse within the family. Now I'm committed to live my purpose by being a blessing to other people so they may become the best version of themselves. Now I'm committed to inspire and empower others that there is truly light at the end of the tunnel. And now I am committed to educate those who are struggling that you can truly create the life you love. What have I become from this? I became a light warrior. From being a warrior, I used to be a warrior, and we always tell ourselves, oh, I only have a 10-watt bulb. Excuse me, that 10-watt bulb still has a spark of light. And that spark of light is your gift, your talent given to you by God. Why not change it to a 2,000-watt bulb? I don't know if there's a 2,000-watt bulb, but how overcome all those fears, all those limiting beliefs? It's just like you looking at the mirror, at what's this, at the window. If your window is super dusty, is super dirty, it's really dirty, then you won't be able to see what is in store for you outside. You need to clear things out, remove all those limiting beliefs, all those fears. and the window, remove the cobweb so you'll have a clear picture of your purpose. And that is what you need to know so that you'll be motivated to pursue what you want to pursue in life. And that is your mission.
And I love your story, Cynthia, because it really is one of resilience, and it's overcoming the fears that everybody feels. I'm sure everybody listening today has a story of where fear held them back, fear stopped them in their tracks. And it sounds like you just took the reins, the horns, or the reins. You took the reins. You're riding the horse, and you just took the reins and you shifted directions. You said, "Here, I'm going to go look over here." You put new eyes on the situation, and you found a way. And you're talking about it as manifesting. So, Dr. Roni, I would love for you to jump in right now, because let's talk to Cynthia about how fear may have impacted her health and well-being, her actual physical health. If she hadn't taken control of the fear and let fear ride her, where would she have been today?
I love the story. And when she was telling the story, I was just feeling all these feelings. But see, that's the problem. And I want to tell you about, I'm feeling what she's telling me. But if you understand what I'm about to tell you, you're going to realize that those feelings are dangerous all the time. So can you imagine her and her children for years having this feeling of fear? So that fear creates what's called a release of these stress hormones. There's several of them that I always talk about because they're really bad. The adrenaline, the cortisol, and the epinephrine. So, and with children, it's even worse, right? To grow up like that, because, their little brains are also going to feel the same thing that an adult feel, where the sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for this fight or flight. And that's probably what she was going through all these times she was being abused. So the fight and flight tells the brain there's a threat, something's about to happen. So all these hormones happen, the part of the brain experience something called let's get ready to fight or flee. And can you imagine just every day doing that? So just imagine the poisons, because those stress hormones, we have to look at them as poisons because it does a lot of damage to our body. I'm sure she was feeling increased heart rate. I'm sure she was feeling some crazy pains and aches in the body that she couldn't figure out. I'm sure she would shake sometimes, and losing focus. And that's the worst, when you lose focus and you lose your coping mechanisms. And then if it goes on too long, some people lose their appetite, they start losing weight. They can't even comprehend their activities of daily living. The simplest thing, like getting your kids ready for school and making their lunches and being home in a calm position, and losing sleep. So all of these things starts happening in the body, and the long-term effects, if it continues to happen for a very, very long time, it is very, very serious. I remember, I'll tell you a story about a kid that grew up like this, and it was a whole family. And it's the saddest thing, because we all feel trauma from other people. I grew up knowing that this kid was being abused. We lived in the projects, so living down the hall from us is almost like living with us, right? We heard it. We heard the abuse. And that's why today I grow up thinking, do something, see something, do something. I'm always telling people that, see something, do something, because you never know how you would affect the outcome of something. So anyway, the entire family was being abused, wickedly abused, beaten every day, the dogs getting kicked, they weren't being fed, and they grew up like this. And then there was an explosion. It's very serious to have fear every single day, because sometimes that fight or flight get out of control, and it did with this child. Got a gun, killed the whole family, even the dog. Now we have to live with this forever. Here I am at this age, and I still remember that when I was in elementary school. So you have to think like, this is not a simple thing that she went through. This is a very serious thing. It's trauma. It's abuse. It affects the way you think. And if you don't get therapy, or if you're not as strong and start doing therapy, like she was doing therapy on herself, health and wellness, I heard her very clearly. She had to do something. Well, she had kids. And I think that, you know, some of the most insidious crimes are because of situations like fear. And we have to learn to get out of that mode, because that fear will bring you to a whole new level where you can harm yourself, because we see that, or you can harm others. So I commend you for being able to do what you've done all of these years and to help your family.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roni. And it was really because of my purpose, my why now. My children deserves to create their dream by design as well. And if I didn't, actually, it's not about the money for sending him to school. It's about me standing up again, making that decision to, hey, this is enough is enough. And my children deserves to live their life to the fullest. And that's the thing that made me really move forward. And that's keeping me motivated. That keeps me on fire to doing what I'm doing. And now I would like to help. A lot of people are stuck in this because they're afraid to speak up. And I was in that situation as well. When I wrote my first book, My Journey into Becoming, a lot of people bashed me. Why will you share your story? What would be the impact of that to the other family? What if your husband was alive? Will he be happy you doing all these things? I just kept quiet. And I now realize I don't have to live for this person. I am not now, I should not be afraid of what other people would say. So I continued doing what I'm doing. I never mentioned any specific details or any details in this book of what happened in this house. I only mentioned two simple words: domestic abuse. And another one is blocked by the family. It's two simple words, but yet very powerful. A lot of people would already know what's happening.
Yes. Yes. And your book helps a lot of people, and everybody have their own definition of what domestic abuse is. I just gave you a very serious case that happened when I was a child. So there's many, many levels, but at the end of the day, it all affects the way you're going to live the rest of your life if you don't get help.
Exactly. I agree with you, Dr. Roni.
Now, Gabriela, Daughtrey, you are actually sitting in for our co-host tonight, Ariel Butler. She wasn't able to make it. She was at another speech and she wasn't able to make it home in time. But let's talk about how can we create a supportive environment for ourselves and others to openly discuss and deal with the fears other than real talk. How do we do that on a daily basis?
Well, I feel that, I mean, gosh, people have to trust you first. You have to have that energy, I guess, to know, you know, when people, I mean, when I meet somebody, I know if I can trust them and I know if I can't. It's just an instinct. We all have that instinct. And more so I think women do. More women do that. We're more spiritual that way. But, you know, in our community, like what we have here, I know I can trust you ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, I do feel for Cynthia, and she has taken upon herself to do that, have a community. And I completely understand what it's like to live in that environment that your kids live in, because that's kind of the environment my mother lived under. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And you are a very strong woman. And, I applaud you for that. And your job as a mom was to protect your children. That it phases me when women don't do that. And it's like, I just want to go and slap them around and say, hey, your job was to protect your child. It wasn't to keep that man. It's to protect your child. So I applaud you. And, it's great that you did everything that you did. And, other people's opinion, they didn't live that life. You did. So don't even let that bother you. Don't even, because they don't know. And they probably did, but they still defended their family member. So I think a community of women that you can start one, a community of women that can trust you, first of all, and you keep it confidential. You don't go telling people what the problem was with this person and this person and this person, unless it's like a professional counselor. Then you could probably refer them to that, and as well as children, because children need to be able to speak out and their problems to a professional. So with that, again, I applaud Cynthia for, being the mom, the woman, the friend that she is. And thank you.
Thank you so much. It was the struggle that made me fight. The journey which I've gone through that made me become a warrior. Because if I did not experience the struggles in life, I will not be the same, the person I am right now. It was hard, 23 years, because again, what would other people say in terms of the society? There's no divorce in our country, so it was a lot harder for me. And I agree with you, Gabriela. Community makes a difference. To belong in a community, the people who would lift you up, who would support you, and who would push you to your limits so you may discover your potential. And that's why I created my inner circle, because I know a lot of people would need help. And I am the one really pushing them, because right now, I'm so glad that they are now doing, living their purpose, because before they were scared. They were just scared.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Dr. Roni has another conference call at the top, I guess in 5 minutes, not even at the top of the hour. So I want to get one final comment from you, Dr. Roni, and then you can jump off and we'll just close the show. But can we be addicted to fear is my question.
Fear, well, yeah, but we have to say it differently. Okay. It's not that we're addicted to fear. What happens is it changes the chemistry in our body. Like, a lot of people don't understand how serious it is, because it does create these hormones. Now, there's another hormone that happens. It's called dopamine. And what happens is that you can have the fight or flight, but all of a sudden, in the middle of fear, you get dopamine. That's why. And that dopamine makes you feel joyful and excited and happy. And that's why fear can be dangerous, because when that happens, then the person who's hurting themselves or the person who's hurting others get that overwhelming sense of joy. These hormones in the body are just serious. And, mental health, we already know, and Cynthia knows that mental health is one of the number 3 rising chronic health conditions in the world today. Okay, mental health decline. When it blocks the ability to think, and loneliness and isolation gets in the way, the coping mechanism starts slowing down because you can't cope anymore. You increase the drug abuse, right? And so the drug abuse increases, and you start thinking of suicide, or you start thinking about hurting other people because they lost their survival skills. They lost the ability to cope. And that's a serious thing. I remember telling my daughter, when you saw the person when she was out at dinner and they went to a club and she was with some friends, and the guy was running around with dilated pupils, and he took his clothes off, and he was just crazy, and he was screaming and swinging his arms, and he was obviously running from something. Fear, that's dangerous. So we got to stop it, see something, do something. And if I don't say this enough, you have to get therapy. Not everybody is as strong as Cynthia. She had kids. She had to do what she had to do. But think about those who don't get therapy and those who don't have kids. Their entire family went against them. Okay, so Cynthia, I commend you. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it because so many people need you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roni.
And thank you, Dr. Roni, for always sharing such important information with us and opening our eyes to things that we don't even, consider.
I have 4 simple steps. Is it okay if I could share it?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
I have 4 simple steps on how to overcome fear. First, feel it. I'm using the acronyms. The acronym of fear. Feel it. Fear is a survival instinct. We experience fear because we know there's something bad, or we feel that there's something bad that's going to happen. And we experience fear because we don't want to experience pain, the pain we've had before. But the good news is fear is transient. According to studies, fear, emotions could only last for 90 seconds. So when you experience fear, don't worry about it. It's only fear, nothing more, nothing less. Especially if there's no existential threat. At least you acknowledge that there is fear. The second one is embrace it as a partner. Let your fear be seated at the passenger's side while you are still in control of the steering wheel, driving towards your destination, and that's your dream. Your fear will be there to push you, to make you uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, that means you're going out of your comfort zone. When you're going out of your comfort zone, that means you're learning something new. And that is the time when you're growing and you're thriving. Remember, opportunities are actually at the borderline of your comfort zone. The third one is what you have mentioned, Yolanda, act on it. Take that uncomfortable action. According to Aristotle believed that the best cure to overcome fear is be courageous. Take that uncomfortable action. The risk of not taking action is greater than the risk of moving forward. So, how do you see yourself? 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now? Will you still be in the same situation? Or are you already living your dream? For me, I'd rather jump in than live in regret. Then the next one, the last one, is repeat it. Repeat the process, because this is not an overnight result. It's a process that builds, it becomes a habit. So when you experience fear, feel it, embrace it, act on it, and repeat it. Just like going to the gym. If you want to lose weight and tone your body, you have to go to the gym at least, or work out at least 3 or 4 times a week. You won't see the result overnight. It takes years or it takes time, but you have to be committed. So, and you will discover that the intensity of your fear will diminish. Why? Because you'll become stronger. And instead of fear overpowering you, it's now you managing your fear. So that's why I challenge each one of you. If you are experiencing fear, feel it, embrace it, act on it, and repeat it.
I absolutely love that. I'd never heard that acronym before. I'd heard the false evidence appearing real, and we talked about courage last week, and we knew that this would be Courage 2.0 show, but it's such a big topic, and it's so important to be brave and take those steps and take action, because your life could be falling apart, and if you're not taking action, nothing's going to happen. You are going to stay in the same rut. But if you spin your wheels and you just give her and you change gears, you often can get yourself out of that rut. So thank you, Cynthia, for joining us tonight. Cynthia, do you have one final thought before we close it down?
The only advice that I could probably share is I'm inspired by Mother Teresa of Calcutta, no? And that's why my vision is always spread sunshine and happiness to the people we meet, so that this may create a ripple effect. For me, it's not how much we can give, but how much love we put into giving. And love is a very simple word, but yet very powerful. When we focus on love, nothing can go wrong. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. So it's just me sharing that, showing compassion, kindness, and love to all. And I'm sure it will create a ripple effect to all. I would like to see this world wherein peace would prevail in this world. That's the only thing I would love to see.
Love, love, love. I say that all the time, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and all the audience, I think, is just probably nodding their heads for sharing your experience with us, your understanding of how we can deal with fear. And I'd like to thank my co-host, Gabriela, Daughtrey, Dr. Roni. I'd like to thank our moderators tonight. And Jillian, thank you for creating Feel Good, Share Good, because you've done good, girl, by doing that. And please don't allow fear to make permanent decisions for you.